Hey everybody, I'm Eric Obrempt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Obrempt. We're back here at D2DCon 6, and we've got a special guest today from a space that we've actually never really talked about on the show today. So I'm kind of excited for that because it's going to be a little bit different. Jordan Lee. Do you go by Jordan Lee, right?
Yep.
Okay. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing awesome.
So exciting. Like, this is super cool. Like, we haven't really seen each other for a while.
It's been like 2 years.
And we just happened to like...
Well, last year we saw a little bit of door-to-door con.
Real quick, yeah.
Before we hung out in St. George.
Yeah, in a hot tub.
Yeah,
in a hot tub.
You told me your entire life story.
Did I?
Yeah.
I just accidentally do that on occasion.
It was
like
really
it just,
cool.
Like it just comes out.
Well, I feel like that's where I got to know you a little bit better is like, you know, your whole recovery story. I know you're pretty open about it.
Yep.
But
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you've been authentic since
I have
hour
tried
one
that.
of knowing you.
Hence the name. Hence the name of the show, right? I'm really excited. We got to have a really cool conversation yesterday. We got to have a really cool conversation literally just in the last 10 minutes of getting ready to start this episode. We don't spend a lot of time getting into like backstories and all that kind of shit because people kind of honestly get bored and then they tune out and, you know, whatever.
Yep.
But something you said right before we came on camera, two things actually, but the one that just stuck with me was that you have been very apprehensive in the past and uncomfortable sharing your story.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
And I would like to know the why behind that. Because I think that there's a lot of people out there listening that are also uncomfortable sharing their story. And I meet people in recovery space that I'll meet and be like, oh, you're sober? Like, you've got a story? And they're like, yeah, so-and-so years. And I'm like, do you share that and tell people and, you know, whatever? And they're like, nah, I kind of keep that to myself. And I'm like, well, that's pretty fucking selfish of you, isn't it? You know how many people you could help if you shared that story?
Yeah.
Right? So I'd love to know, why has Jordan been apprehensive about sharing his story? What's there that's kept you from doing that?
I think growing up, you always hear about humility, right? And you want to be humble in everything you do.
Correct.
And I think to sometime it's to our detriment. I never want to be a guy that just comes off as a prick, because that's not who I am. I wouldn't be authentic, right? So there's a good balance, but I also am trying to be a little bit more vocal about my journey and the biggest steps that got me to where I was. And I know it's super cliche, but people talk about mindset all the time.
Yeah.
But
it's a real thing.
But it is so real.
Yeah.
It's real in the fact that not only do you have to have the belief that you're going to get there, but you have to be willing to be vocal of, I'm getting there, whether, you know, almost in a prideful way, like the way I'm prideful about my children, right? There's a difference between pride of I'm all that and, you know, I'm better than you and I have all these properties.
That's just cocky.
That's cocky.
That's cocky and ego.
So
that's totally different.
So I have to pull back and not judge myself. It's really judging myself. Saying like, I'm on this podcast. I don't even know if I deserve to be here, right? But I'm here, and I do want to talk about and be more vocal of how I did get here. Yeah. Because it's going to help a lot of people, because I struggled for a long time. I was doing things so small, and ever since I've been more vocal about it, more people have been reaching out to me.
Sure.
I've had more money come to me than I've ever had before.
So that's a good lesson. It's different than the question I asked. It's different than the question I asked, but it's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because the question I asked was, why do you think you were scared to share? But the answer that we ended up getting takes us somewhere else of being vocal, right? So being vocal about what you do attracts people. That's different, but I think that's something that people need to understand, because like I become vocal by having this show and raising awareness for different things, but it's brought other things to me as well, whether it's business or friendships or, you know what I mean, like whatever it is, by building that brand, quote unquote, right? It's given me the ability to be attractive to other humans, whether it's in a personal space or a business space.
Exactly.
And you want to work together. So I think there's really something in that too, that we can dig into, that people that are kind of hiding in the background.
And that is the why, though.
Yeah.
If you think about it, you were asked about the why.
Okay.
The why is
But you were scared
I
of
was
something.
scared
Yeah, there
to
you
be
go.
prideful. I was scared to come off as like, I'm all that, so I don't want to be vocal. I don't want to be, I'd rather be the silent ninja, but in my space, the silent ninjas never win. They never go big.
Right, but there's a difference between being humble,
Correct.
right, and being egotistical and cocky.
Yes.
Right? Being humble doesn't mean that you hide. Being humble doesn't mean that you hide, because I consider myself humble, right?
Yeah.
But I don't fucking hide anywhere,
No, you don't.
right? But I consider myself, I think that I have humility, right, in my past, in my present, right? Like, when
100%.
I win, when I have a win, I don't run around fucking town going, look what I did, motherfucker, and point, you know what I mean? Like, that's ego. I don't run around saying, look what I did, right?
Yeah.
What I like to talk about is where I failed, so that people can learn from that, because then I also learn from that as well, because I'm talking about it, and then I just keep fucking winning. Because people want to be around people that have failed because of that experience.
100%.
Right? It's not age, it's not, you know what I'm saying? It's about experience, and you only have experience if you've shit the bed, or if you have been scared, right? Because there's so many people that can relate to the fear of putting themselves out there, right? And you have obviously finally gotten to a point where it doesn't scare you as much.
Not as
Agreed?
much. I'm still scared, I'll be honest, being super humble.
Because you are scared of being perceived as something. Is that correct?
That's it. That's all
Yeah.
it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be. Man, this is. We were talking about getting uncomfortable, and like, I'm coming out of my comfort zone, telling
Good.
like that. The part where I struggle is, people tell me to go be loud every day. Post on social media, do all this, and the reason I don't do it is because I think I judge myself, and honestly, I judge others probably, and just in the back of my mind, I'm like, are they being authentic? Like, do they actually have, like, how do I portray my true desires to help people acquire passive income without alienating people? But I think in the end,
Do you see that as your passion in life, or how you generate revenue so that you can do the things that you're passionate about?
that's all it is. I think it goes back from when I was a kid. Not saying my parents are poor by any means.
Yeah.
They did really well. My dad's painting contractor, but not as well as they could, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have some opportunities that other people had. And
Right.
I want my children to have those opportunities. When they say, hey, they wanted to go do a gymnastics tournament in Hawaii
Right.
because they're one of the best, I don't want to say, I can't afford that, you can't go.
Right.
When they say, I want to go, pursue music or whatever they want to pursue, their dreams,
Right.
that's the why behind what I do, is be able to have not only money to provide for opportunities and dreams, but time too. I love having time. We were talking about it, a couple minutes ago. I didn't go to the after party last night because I wanted to come home and have
Right.
that hour with my children and
Right.
play with them, put them to bed, all that. So that's
your
the why.
your purpose for getting up in the morning and busting your ass during the day and doing all the things that you do is, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, I'm asking to understand, is to be able to have the freedom to be able to spend the time as you see fit with your family, whatever it is.
I think
right?
family is the most important thing that we have in this life. My personal beliefs is that I'm going to have them after this life. At least I hope that, right?
Yep.
I can't see the afterlife,
Yep.
but I truly hope that. So that's the only thing that really matters to me is the relationships. I look at you as my
What does
brother.
that mean? I'm sorry, I'm going on a fucking tangent.
Yeah.
Tell me about that belief. I'm interested in this.
Yeah, I mean, if it's simple. Do you believe in an afterlife?
I don't know.
Okay, many people don't know, right? I can never say I've seen God personally,
No,
right?
yeah.
So I think that faith is not like, and we are going on a tangent right here, but you asked
This is
me
what
to.
we do, man.
Okay.
This is what we do.
I think that
Yeah.
faith is it's not a knowledge. If somebody says they know, it's a figure of speech.
Yeah,
right?
no, I totally
So-
get that. But I'm like specific on the afterlife part and like what you believe
What do I
that
believe?
looks like.
I
Because you
believe-
said something about seeing your children.
I
blah,
believe
blah, blah.
that my family is going to be with me for eternity.
Okay.
So
But what does that look like? Like you're hanging out in the clouds? You know what I mean? Like, or is it a conscious thing?
I'm just
curious, 'cause
Just
I'm
like
trying
we
to
here
figure this
here
out.
on Earth.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I think the afterlife's going to be very similar to this.
Interesting.
I think I personally believe that we're going to have bodies, flesh
Really?
and bone.
Okay.
I personally, this is personal belief. I think
Yeah.
that we're going to have an eternal family,
Okay.
and I want to be the best father and husband and friend I can possibly be, because I truly believe that what we do here echoes in the eternity.
Okay.
You've seen Gladiator, but I love that line. I think that
Does that belief system
is an
come from
extension.
your upbringing, or is that something that you have kind of grown into as you've gotten older and started to believe? I'm just, again, I don't know this world.
No, yeah, I mean, my parents have, my parents believe the same thing.
Okay.
But the funny thing is that you have to learn it, because some of my brothers and sisters, or even close family members, that they grow up around that type of religion or that type
Yep.
of belief, they still don't understand it because they don't take the time to actually think about it or study it.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
I think about it all the time. That is my deep why. Is
Okay.
I want to provide for my family, and if I don't have the time to provide for my family, I've done something wrong.
Right.
I could go out and make $1 billion, but if I've hustled, and then die,
Right. So
What's it
what
all
are you
for?
doing? What do you do to be intentional about, because you have to split time. One of the things that I talk about a lot is being intentional with your time. I know that I'm here, right, for 2 or 3 days, and I'm away from my family. I don't get to see my wife and my kid, right? But while I'm here, I have to be 100% intentional with what I'm doing right now, and I have to focus on this and not be focusing on
Correct.
what they're doing. But when I go home and I'm spending that time with them, I'm 100%, I'm not, but I try to be 100% intentional with the time that I'm spending with them, because it's quality of time, not quantity of time.
Correct.
Right? So what do you do on a daily to be intentional with that time so that you can split it? Because I don't believe in balance.
No.
Right? I believe
Correct.
in focus and intentionality. I'm just curious what you do to do
balance. First off, just my definition of balance is different than most people, right? Some people are like, I need to have balance during my day, like 5 minutes here and 5 minutes. I'm the same way as you.
Yeah.
So when I'm going to Texas next week, I know I'm going to be working my butt off.
Right.
Even my wife, when she comes in and maybe I'm working from home, I say, no, I'm on a call.
Right.
Like, this is providing for the family. But you do have to be intentional and saying, like, hey, I've worked my butt off. I need to spend a little bit of time with my kids. Like,
Yep.
last night, it was a decision. I was exhausted, but I went into my daughter's room and made sure I played with her little T-Rexes
Yeah.
and make sure that I'm being a fatherly figure
Yep.
so she trusts me.
Yes.
So when I'm there, it's hard for me, right? My phone's going all the time. That's
Yep.
the biggest, I'll be honest. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm being
We all have to
authentic.
get better at using that do not disturb fucking button that they gave us
Correct.
to use.
So if I'm being authentic, like, sometimes I'm like, my wife even says, no. She helps me. She's better than me.
Yeah.
But that is a thing that I'm learning. I'm still going through the process, and I do try to be intentional about is
Yeah.
putting down my phone and making sure that I have the time to spend with them.
Yep.
And then also when we're on vacation, I'm pretty good about turning off my phone when I'm on vacation.
Are you?
Yeah, like
I'm not.
It's okay. I am. When
I'm
I tell
not.
people I'm going on vacation, we'll send out a blast email, tell my admin, say, hey, like I'm out of the service for 3 days in Lake Powell.
Right.
But I think it's important to balance in different areas of your life. So there's a time and a season for everything, right?
Yep.
It doesn't have to all be in a time and a season in the day.
Right.
It could be one day with your family, one day here. But as long as you are being an active father and an active husband and teaching them the right ways, that's my why.
Yeah.
So going back to like the struggles, I think that the only way I can up level is by not caring what other people think of me. I'm trying to switch that brain. It's kind of when you knock on a door, right? D2D con right here.
Yep.
My first year when I didn't get a cell, it was that mindset. I'd come home and I would stare at the ceiling.
Dejected.
So bad, right? By year 3, you're like, you didn't get it. Well, you sell more often. But that one day that you didn't get to sell, you look at tomorrow, you're like, I'm going to sell 5 tomorrow.
Well, I think the bigger story in between what you just said is how the fuck did you get from year 0 to year 3 with the dejection, and how did you get through the dejection? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's the story that you should be sharing with people as well, right? Because you literally just said, year 1, knock on a fucking door and get bageled all day, right? And have a shitty fucking year. Why would you even come back?
It was, honestly, I want to credit my brother a little bit for the mindset. I have an older brother, Rob. He's been my partner through a lot of stuff. And every time that I fail, that I get down, he looks at me like I'm dumb. He actually kind of has a little bit of, he's very, very direct.
Okay.
He's the type of personality who he is. He's not afraid of anyone. But he'd look at me like I'm dumb, and he'd be like, you're going to sell tomorrow. And if you don't, you're going to sell eventually.
Is he the one that told you don't be a pussy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, you're going to sell eventually. Why are you sulking?
Right.
We're all playing Call of Duty.
Right.
Why don't you go do something fun at night and de-stress?
Love it.
So when I was doing real estate, I was actually doing it on my own for years.
Yep.
As a real estate agent, broker, fix and flips, one a deal at a time. And when my brother came in and partnered with me, he's like, you've been doing these fourplexes. You've been telling me that there's the most money in these bigger units. So for our first deal, why don't we just do 70 units? And I was kind of like, yeah. But in the back of my mind, I was like, why haven't I done that? That's how many I own personally.
Right.
We're going to go get 70 units today? He's like, yeah, like, we're just going to find it. Well, fast forward just a year, we're going to have over 200 units just in one area in a 4-month period.
So tell everybody how what you do can benefit them.
What I do can benefit them. Okay. Yeah, so
not just what your accomplishments are, right? Because they're great.
A couple ways, okay? So, number one, and I don't want to go over time, I'm looking.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
So,
I'll cut you the fuck off if you need to.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to be respectful of time, but
you're good.
How can I help? Number one, I think a lot of people, they do the ones and twosies, right?
Yep.
And for people like you, people like Sam Taggart, the one who runs the show, we've done a lot of business together, right? And they don't have the time to go out and buy one Airbnb and put in property management and do all this stuff.
Right.
And the reality is, if one townhome is $400,000, if I'm buying 80 at a time, they're going to be $300,000. Like it's economy scale. It's kind of like Costco, right?
Yeah, okay.
So the return actually gets bigger the bigger you go.
Obviously.
Yeah. So if I'm partnered with people, I say, hey, I'm going to give you 80% of the net profit. Whereas if they're getting like 1 or 2 deals at a time and they get 100%, but their management fee is 10% with their property management.
Yep.
Mine's 6 because I have hundreds of units. My 80% is like 150 of what they would have made on that one unit.
Right.
So not only that, they're making more money. They don't have any liability. I'm the only one that signs on those loans. So I'm a key principal. That's what it's called in commercial realm, right? I sign on the loans. They don't take any risk. So
what's me and Sam's protection?
So like, let's say a guy from here, a CEO, writes me a $500,000 check. Yeah. It's for, it's on a $2 million raise that we need for a $7 million property.
Okay.
Right? His $500,000 gets him, X amount ownership in the property. He doesn't have to sign on the loan. I go sign the loan. In
a certain property, not in a book. Not like of a book of business, but of a certain property.
Of a certain property.
Okay.
Let me give you an exact example. Today, we are closing on 65 units in...
The one that we were talking about?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So we closed on it yesterday, but the mobile notary has to come back and get,
Fucking mobile notaries.
I know, messed up.
Yeah.
They were here yesterday, but we're going to get a mobile notary come back, so we should close today, right?
Yep.
It was 65 units. It appraised for $4 million.
Okay.
We bought it for $2.4 million, so under $37,000 per door, right? We only had to raise $1.7 million to get the deal done. $600,000 down payment and about $1 million in renovation costs. We're going to go redo the roof. We're going to do all that stuff. That property will be worth about $5 million in a year and a half, 2 years between roof, repainting, going and redoing all the units, upping rents, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Well, most people don't have $1.7 million in their checking account, even if they are very successful. The amount of people that will write a $1.7 million check, very small. There are a lot of people that have $100,000.
Right.
So we divide it into $100,000 shares. Here you go. Some guy might write 3 shares. Here's $300,000. He's 3/17 owner of that property.
Okay.
Right. We manage it for him, and we say, we're going to give you a preferred return. If we don't hit our mark of 8%, we're not going to take a profit. If we hit that, we're going to take 20% of anything above that.
Okay.
Right? That's how we make our money. So if we find a really amazing deal.
So say I invest, just hypothetically, because people listening are interested and confused.
Yes.
Say I talked to you before you bought this 65 door Plex, right?
Yep.
And I gave you $100,000.
Yep.
And I had one share of 17 or whatever it is of the property, right? Me as that 1/17th owner, am I making is your pitch that I'm making a return every year, or I'm making a return when you flip it and sell it in 5?
The entire time. So you make money when the first month that rents come in, you're getting 80% of the net profit, let's say on that share, but 1/17th of that.
80% of the net profit on the 1/17th.
Correct. So
okay. Yep, that makes sense.
So our projections, like on this deal, was 8% up front.
Yep.
So you're going to make on $100,000 year one, you're going to make about an $8,000 what we call dividend checks.
Yep.
In real estate, it's called cash on cash.
Yep.
When we sell it, you're also getting 80% of the upside. If we decide not to sell it and we refinance it, cash out, you're getting all of your money back before we make a penny.
Right.
So you get your $100,000 back. And if there's any upside after we pay the investors, you're also getting 80% of that as well.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
So it's literally just like a partnership. You provide the money, I provide the hustle, the team, finding the bigger deal, negotiating it down. This deal we worked down from $4 million to 2.4.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
It's a big nut.
Right? It took us 8 months to get that deal.
That's awesome.
When we raised the 1.7 million, it took us 4 days to raise the 1.7.
Really?
Because everybody knew it was a good deal.
Right.
Like I could go show it and people were like, well, I'll just buy the whole thing. No, we're doing shares. This guy has 3, 4. How many do you want? You want 7 shares? Perfect. Right?
Is there a cap on how many shares you can buy then?
No, but it's first come, first serve.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
And honestly, I like having more people involved in it. I would rather have, 17 individual
Than
shares
2.
than 2 big dogs, because those big dogs eventually run out of money. Those little dogs are actually coming up in the world, and they're going to invest more and more in your network.
100 here, 100 there.
Correct.
Yeah, or they can do maybe 3 deals a year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's called syndication, right?
Okay.
So I do real estate syndication. I was doing it on a small scale for years. Didn't know what it was, and I finally figured out what it was.
Yeah.
Wanted to go big, and that's when my brother came along. He's like, hey,
love it.
Why don't you just do bigger deals?
So tell everybody the name of the company.
Yeah, so Cash Flowing Investments is our out-of-state deals. Okay. Locally in Utah, our brokerage is Beast Real Estate.
Okay.
So Beast Real Estate, Utah, buy and sell homes, represent people.
Yep.
Anything that's on a bigger scale, Cash Flowing Investments.
Cash Flowing Investments.
Investments,
Love that.
Yep.
Okay, well, we're going to do some business together in 2023.
Heck yeah.
So I'm excited about it. So
awesome.
Jordan, thank you for being here, brother.
Thank you so much.
I'm super glad that we got to spend some time together, get to know each other a little bit better, and get to know your business a little bit better. So thank you for being here, man.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Eric.
And remember, everybody, be authentic. Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic.